Reporting would suggest, and we did ask the president about this today, we don't have much more light on the issue, that the president could be about to decide to go all in, a massive attack, even more so than we saw in the outset of Operation Epic Fury. Knowing that we have not seen progress at the peace table, do you expect he will?
So I think the president's instincts are still probably to avoid this if possible. And I note that he did seem to leave himself a little bit of an opening by suggesting that Iran would like to make a deal, trying, I think, maybe to set up a narrative where there are negotiations that would at least push this back. That being said, the buildup that we are seeing militarily throughout the region suggests that certainly the military is on high alert. Our embassies have warned that flight disruptions may take place again. So all the signs are there that the president is, in his own words, locked and loaded and ready to do this. I think the big question is to what end?
Okay. What do you think he's talking about when he says that? When you're talking this out at the Cohen Group, do you have a sense of what locked and loaded means? He's talked about dropping bridges, bombing power plants. Is that the next chapter?
Yeah, I mean, he said repeatedly that the next chapter would indeed be more of these civilian infrastructure targets, which, of course, when it comes to international law, would be quite an escalation, potentially in violation of that. And have enormous costs for the Iranian people themselves, who, of course, ostensibly were the reason that we got into this conflict in the first place. So I think what this represents really is the president just running out of options. I think he would like to end this war. He, of course, campaigned on no forever wars almost 6 months later. It continues to go on. And as you noted, the peace negotiations have not gotten us out of this. And so this seems like the proverbial escalate to de-escalate to his mind. And I worry, though, that there's no indication that this would actually change Iran's negotiating calculus.
That escalate to de-escalate now includes a B-1 bomber that was used for the first time just 2 nights ago since the resumption of the attacks following the fallout of the MOU. Does that give you a sense, when you see hardware moving into theater like that, of what the administration either has in mind or could be preparing for on the ground?
So the more conventional targets that we saw in March and April ultimately, as is now well known, did not fundamentally weaken the Iranian regime. It certainly brought significant economic cost to it and some pain to the people, but it did not divert the Iranian regime from its strategic objectives. And so I think what the attempt would be here would be to destabilize the regime further. There are certainly those in the administration who are still arguing that the president should try to weaken the regime, if not completely unseat it. And in order to do so, in order to fundamentally change where we are today, I think that would require, if not ground troops, and it probably would require ground troops, but it would require a real expansion geographically, the types of targets that they're hitting. And I think that's why we're seeing these troop movements, why we're seeing the movement of these assets and the deployment of new weaponry.
Just quickly, Jen, the Wall Street Journal had some fascinating reporting that Iran has far more missile capability than some might have suggested by digging out the sites that we've already bombed.
Yeah.
In our remaining 30 seconds, do we have a sense of how large this stockpile is?
Well, it was depleted certainly by the U.S. military, but as you know, they've done a tremendous job of rebuilding that very quickly. And so I suspect our intelligence agencies have some idea of how big that is. But I think what's really important here is that it cannot be fully destroyed, really. And so that gets back to this idea that there's really no outcome, no end to this conflict that isn't negotiated.